Hey, boys and girls, this is Mr. Hood, and we are going to read a couple more books tonight, just like we have been for the last couple days. I hope you enjoy. The first book that we're going to read is called Leaf Trouble, and it really is about this type of year. You know, we talked about this in our other book called Leaves Falling or Falling Leaves. Okay, so we're going to begin reading this. This is called Leaf Trouble. A fresh breeze blew across the woodland, tickling the tall grass and trembling the trees. Summer had left and autumn had arrived. Pip Squirrel stuck his head out of the nest and sniffed the air. Something's changed, he decided, and he scampered off to find what it was. Pip's nest was in an old oak tree. Pip loved the old tree, and he knew every bit of it from twig to trunk. But something was happening to that tree. It was happening so slowly that Pip hadn't noticed it until now. He skittered to a top stop and stared at the leaves beside him. He was so surprised that he let go of the trunk. Whoa! Squealed Pip as he tumbled down through the branches and landed, oof, on the woodland floor. Pip lay there for a moment, staring up at the leaves. They've changed color, he gasped, and he was right. The last time Pip had looked closely at the leaves, they had all been green, but now there were lots of colors, yellow and orange and even red. As Pip watched, one of the leaves dropped off and drifted down toward the ground. He jumped up and ran after it and caught it in his paws, but even as he reached it, another leaf began to fall. Pip ran after the second leaf and just managed to catch it before it touched the woodland floor. Not again, gasped Pip as a third leaf began to fall. So he's trying to catch these leaves, but they are falling faster than he can catch them. Kind of feels like me trying to keep the leaves out of my yard. Pip was still racing around trying to catch the falling leaves when his sister Blossom scurried up. Good, panted Pip. You're just in time. Just in time for what? Asked Blossom. To help save the tree, puffed Pip. It's falling to pieces. But that's been happening for days, said Blossom, pointing to the leaf covered ground. Then we've got to stop it now, insisted Pip. So there's his sister, Blossom. Pip and Blossom collected all the fallen leaves into a big pile. Now what? Asked Blossom. We put them back, said Pip. So Blossom carried the leaves up into the tree where Pip tried to stick them back onto the branches, but it didn't work very well. Then all of a sudden there was a huge gust of wind and hundreds of leaves began to fall. Pip and Blossom were scrambling across frantically, trying to gather them when Mom Squirrel arrived. What are you two up to? She asked. You ever been doing something with your sibling, a brother or sister, and you hear that tone with your mom? What are you all doing? When Mom found out what Pip and Blossom had been doing, she couldn't help smiling. But Pip, she said, the tree has to lose its leaves. And she explained that taking care of the leaves was hard work for the tree and that after keeping them all summer, it needed to rest for a while. But I love this tree, said Pip sadly. It's our home and I want it back to the way it was. It will be, said Mom. When spring comes, the leaves will all come back again. They've only gone away for a while, like when the sun sets and then comes back again, said Pip. Like when the sun sets, agreed Mom, except the leaves will just take a little longer to come back than the sun does. Pip, Blossom, and Mom played beneath the old oak tree until sunset. Before they left, they collected some leaves to take back to their nest. They're such beautiful colors, said Pip, smiling, and now I understand why. He held up a paw full of leaves to show Blossom and Mom. They're the colors of sunset, said Pip. All right, so that gives us a little bit more understanding of the changes our trees are going through. And really, I believe, at least my trees on my property, have just about finished going through the process of losing their leaves. We're going to have our leaves collected on later this week, sucked up by lawn care service. And so, but my kids have enjoyed playing in the big piles while they've been where they're at. So, all right. Anyway, we're going to move on. The next book is not about autumn and it's not about fall. It's just one of my favorite books. It's one of my kids' favorite books. I read this. Actually, I've read this to middle school students before, especially middle school students that uh, groups of students when they couldn't get along very well. And it's called The Rainbow Fish. Um, and it just has a good theme that goes along with it. And maybe we'll talk about that theme at the end. A long way out in the deep blue sea there lived a fish. Not just an ordinary fish, but the most beautiful fish in the entire ocean. His scales were every shade of blue and green and purple, with sparkling silver scales among them. You can see the sparkly scales that this little fish has. The other fish were amazed at his beauty. They called him Rainbow Fish. Come on, Rainbow Fish, they would call. Come and play with us. But the rainbow fish would just glide past, proud and silent, letting his scales shimmer. Kind of showing off a little bit. He's really proudful. One day, a little bluefish followed after him. Rainbow Fish, he called, wait for me. Please give me one of your shiny scales. They are so wonderful, and you have so many. You want me to give you one of my special scales? Who do you think you are? Cried the rainbow fish. Get away from me. Shocked, the little blue fish swam away. He was so upset he told all his friends what had happened. From then on, no one would have anything to do with the rainbow fish. They turned away when he swam by. So this little fish was kind of shocked. Sometimes I'm shocked, or you may be shocked by the way some people talk and talk to you, or snap at you, or just aren't very pleasant. And that's probably kind of how this fish felt. What good were the dazzling, shimmering scales with no one to admire them? Now he was the loneliest fish in the entire ocean. One day he poured out his troubles to the starfish. I really am beautiful. Why doesn't anyone like me? I can't answer that for you, said the starfish, but if you go beyond the coral reef to a deep cave, you will find the wise octopus. Maybe she can help you. So he's pouring his soul into this little fish, telling him how he can't believe nobody admires him. The rainbow fish found the cave. It was very dark inside, and he couldn't see anything. Then suddenly two eyes caught him in their glare, and the octopus emerged from darkness. I've been waiting for you, said the octopus with a deep voice. The waves have told me your story. This is my advice. Give a glittering scale to each of the other fish. You will no longer be the most beautiful fish in the sea, but you will discover how to be happy. I can't, the rainbow fish started to say, but the octopus had already disappeared in the dark cloud of ink. Give away my scales, my beautiful shining scales? Never. How could I be happy without them? So this rainbow fish, kind of feels like the only way he will be happy is if he has these sparkling scales. And sometimes we as people, we feel like we'll only be happy if we have certain things that we feel that belong to us. Suddenly he felt the light touch of a fin. The little blue fish was back. Rainbow fish, please don't be angry. I just want one little scale. The rainbow fish wavered. Only one very, very small shimmery scale, he thought. Well, maybe I wouldn't miss just one. Carefully, the rainbow fish pulled out the smallest scale and gave it to the little fish. Thank you very much. The little blue fish bubbled playfully as he tucked the shiny scale in among his blue ones. A rather peculiar feeling came over the rainbow fish. For a long time he watched the little blue fish swim back and forth with his new scale glittering in the water. The little blue fish whizzed through the ocean with his scale flashing. So it didn't take long before the rainbow fish was surrounded by the other fish. Everyone wanted a glittering fish, a glittering scale. The rainbow fish shared his scales left and right, and the more he gave away, the more delighted he became. When the water around him filled with glimmering scales, he at last at home. He at last felt at home among the other fish. So when everybody had a little bit of these scales, and he could see everybody's happiness, he felt better. He felt at home. Finally, the rainbow fish had only one shining scale left. His most prized possessions had been given away, yet he was very happy. "Come on, rainbow fish," they called. "Come and play with us." "Here I come," said the rainbow fish, and happy as a splash, he swam off to join his friends. So they all ended up being really happy. Um, and he learned to make friends by sharing his possessions and being sharing and not being what we call stingy or um, hoarding those things to himself. So it's just a good little book about sharing happiness and um, just being a good person. So hope you enjoyed these books, and I will see you tomorrow.